So good morning, everyone. I promise not to keep you too long. How are we doing this morning? Good? Yes? All right, good. I'm good. So my job in the next few minutes is to help you to energize your communities of practice. So my job is to make you all into superheroes, which is a good achievement, right? So for the morning, we'll take it that way. So as I mentioned, my name is Naomi Moneypenny, and yes, that really is my name, so I have to get it over and done with. I would like to make you all super agents, but I decided to go for superheroes instead. I thought that was more impressive. So I am on Twitter at @Moneypenny if you want to find me, and we can always talk, always. Love to talk to the communities of practice and knowledge management audience. And so I'm going to talk about a few things that we can do in terms of our communities of practice and how we can really help to engage some of this new technology that we have access to. And the first thing that we really want to start with is understanding like all of the things we have access to, right? First thing is understanding from a superhero perspective, what is it that I can actually do and how I can mobilize some of this content. So I actually have a huge toolkit, right? We have a huge arsenal of things that we can do from a technology perspective and how we can actually use those inside of our organizations. So it's not just, SharePoint, not just Yammer, not just the pieces we have in Office. There's lots of different ways that we can use this and put it together. So first thing I want to sort of talk about is kind of those building blocks that we have. When we talk about our communities of practice and communities of interest, we really want to think about where do they have that destination place to go. And so we want to really put people together and understand how it is that they're going to work together, but oftentimes we want to create a destination for that. And one of the things I wanted to share with you today is really this middle block, which is really around communication sites. And if you haven't looked at this recently inside of SharePoint, you might be happily surprised. I also wanted to mention a few other pieces that we have here. One is really understanding how do we coalesce some of these pieces together, whether it's themes, it's custom branding, how do we actually make that design experience really work for us. We understand what they're doing, as John was mentioning earlier, in terms of customer service, how are we delivering and designing on this. We really want to be able to help people customize and have their own brand. And then also the ability to have intelligent applications be part of that community of practice. So it's not just the search pieces of it, it's the recommendations area, it's understanding how we float up conversations and make those part of what we're doing right now. So how do I inform and engage some people, right? I really want to think about how do I create something like a SharePoint communication site. My first superpower I really need to do is have great design skills, right? That's the hard part, right? So it's like I want to make this informing and engaging for people. Okay, how do I actually do that? Well, luckily, there's a few templates that can help you. So if you go ahead and create a SharePoint communication site, it's very easy. You're going to do that from SharePoint Home. You'll actually get some templates that actually look just like the ones that come right here, right? This screenshot is not a fake thing. It's not a beautiful thing. This is a real thing. This is what the template looks like when you get it and you click on the box and you say, create the site. And you're like, yes, I have superpowers as a web designer. Okay, we're getting there. Okay, so we're getting there. So we really want to have these natively mobile experiences as well because it's really worthless to us inside of our organization if we can't take that superpower experience around with us in terms of our community. So we want to be able to keep people up to date as well. Part of it is just keeping up to date with that content and being able to do that as part of our daily community of practice and community of interest. So the first thing I want to show you here is really understanding what we can do to actually detect the content and expertise that you need inside of your organization. And so when we think about communities of practice, it's not just that content, right? It's really about how do I connect with the SMEs and the expertise that I need inside of the organization. And so first thing is, can I actually highlight these people, right? Can I actually highlight people? Can I highlight relevant conversations? How can I bring in a community and a conversational aspect as part of that? And so that's one of the things we really looked at when we're putting together these kind of communication sites is really having one place to have conversations, to be able to put video, to be able to put people, be able to put all the documents, the policies, the information that you want to put all together in one single place. And so we think about, there's some tips here in terms of how you actually put together these communities of knowledge. So we have lots of different pieces and items, and we want to be able to collect it together in one single place. And so it makes it easy, right, first off, to be able to integrate things like video. Video content, really, really important for our communities of practice. I'm sure you guys have noticed there's a big upswing inside of the organization to really look at how do I record what you're doing, right? You're doing questions and answers, people are doing brown bags, all that kind of stuff. But now we're actually taking that content and putting it onto our intranets and making it engaged as part of our community. Nobody is in one place anymore, right? It's like it used to be we could all get together in a room and have a lunch and learn, but no, we don't get to do that anymore, right? It's like you're halfway around the world, maybe you're traveling, maybe you're a remote employee, and you still have to make people feel connected as part of the organization. So that's where I really think about having that one place, that one site, that one community of practice that people can come together and have that. And so we think about communication sites as kind of one of those destinations. So we can put together video content, we can help to keep people engaged with something like Microsoft Forms, which basically is a great way to do surveys and polls. It is all part of Office 365, so keep people engaged and understand what they're working on, ask them questions and see what they want to have information about. And then the other piece of it is bringing in relevant news feeds. So making sure that we're actually using other external applications like SharePoint News, if we've got news that's coming in from the outside world, maybe it's even Twitter, right, monitoring all of those things, right? You actually have one place to be able to put all those pieces together, and then really understanding that we can actually do search across all of these areas. So it could be list items, it could be news, and we can actually do search across the entire piece of it as well. Okay, a couple of other things I want to mention just very quickly. So if we think about dynamic pages, right, we actually want to be able to create those pages on the fly and be able to populate it with content that we already have. So how do I actually roll up a lot of that information that's already as part of my SharePoint site? So that's an easy way to be able to do that, and we can actually also have that all in a mobile format as well. It's all natively mobile. We have a great application for SharePoint if you haven't checked that out recently. It's really a nice experience and actually allows a lot of personalization and understanding what it is that you're working on and floating up relevant news as part of it. The other superpower I wanted to show you, which is really, really important, is to be able to understand that you can do things like rearranging your intranet. So one of the great things is we create these wonderful communities, and then we decide to reorganize inside of our company, right? Because that happens all the time, right? So we know that. And so one of the new announcements that we had is this idea of hub sites. And the idea is really thinking about how do I collect things together under one place, and then have a site that actually connects all of these different other sites to it. So we can actually refresh those hubs, change the hubs as the company reorganizes, or maybe you'd actually even like to reorganize your intranet around expertise area or process area, as opposed to having to follow the hierarchical nature of your organization. Sounds good, right? Yes? Okay, good superpower, right? Brilliant. So I love this one. So, yeah, just a little effect as well, just to go for it. So really, this hub site is understanding how I can rearrange that intranet, how can I change the navigation. I can basically connect up team sites, so things that people are working on from projects, but I can also connect up what they're doing from a community perspective, maybe communications and the sort of communications of the wider area across our entire project. Okay, just the last couple minutes on search and discovery, because I know this is a big topic for many folks. So what is all the point of having all this amazing knowledge if we can't find it, right? And so one of the things we want to sort of show you here is that what we're doing behind the scenes with the Microsoft Graph is really understanding your work behaviors. So we can understand a little bit about who you're emailing, who you're in meetings with, what kinds of documents you're working on, who you're working with most frequently. And the idea is that we want to really plug in search and discovery, sort of that proactive recommendations capability into every single experience. Just like the previous speaker, we don't actually want to think about search as being a destination. We think that search should just be built in, right? It should understand you. We want to care about you. We understand what it is that you're working on and what's relevant to you. So we actually want to build that into every single experience you have. And that doesn't mean if you go into Office or just into SharePoint, it means even inside of PowerPoint, I can find things that are relevant to me. I don't have to break my search experience and go off somewhere else. So I can reuse that knowledge inside of the organization and reuse those areas of understanding that we have from communities of practice. We have a new experience that we just private previewing right now called Bing for Business. And Bing for Business allows you to get the best of web searches and work searches all in one place. So that's another aspect that could be really interesting for you as well from a community perspective. As I mentioned, it's all powered by the Graph. The Graph learns from you, understands the different connections and the collaboration that's going on inside of your organization, and really is able to understand kind of that superpower of like understanding and predicting what's going on, right? So that's kind of the area for it too. All right, last couple of things here to talk about. So I want to be able to locate the people and the expertise that really makes the difference to me. And so that superpower is really understanding what people are interested in, and that superpower of empathy. And so we want to think about both the interests that they have, but the projects and the skill sets that they're contributing. You may have seen recently that we actually launched integration with LinkedIn. And so that's one of the areas that we're investing heavily in, is understanding how we can actually bring in the best of what your external network has in addition to what you have from a profile information inside of your company. So giving that sort of control to folks inside of your organization to manage their own profiles and be able to talk about their own interests and projects and skills and things they want to develop, but also then to be able to make that searchable and populated across every single Office experience that you have. So it doesn't matter if you're inside of Outlook, or if you're inside of PowerPoint, or you're inside of OneDrive, or inside of SharePoint. It's that same piece and making that expertise relevant and searchable wherever you are. The other piece of this is also being able to actually preview things straight away. So again, from a service design perspective, I loved what John was talking about this morning, and Patricia too, is like really understanding what it is that we were looking at from a preview perspective. Like, I don't want to actually have to leave that search experience until I found what it is that I'm looking for, right? So I don't want any ouches from that, basically. I want to be able to see right in the search page what I'm looking for. And so now we allow you to preview 270 plus different file types. And so being able to see that rich preview right from there is kind of an amazing way to be able to say, okay, I found this content, I know it's exactly what I'm looking for, I didn't have to jump off to a million pages to go find and investigate that result. Okay, last superpower is my favorite. This is Xray Vision, right? Because we all wanted that as a kid, right? So it's important to be able to do that. And so Xray Vision is really, in this case, happens to be the visual content intelligence. And that is the ability that when you upload photographs, images, screenshots, it could be X-rays, could be CAD files, could be drawings, could be whiteboards, could be anything. When you upload those to SharePoint and OneDrive, they are automatically categorized from you, and they automatically extract all of the text from there as well. So now you can basically analyze content from images that previously had been kind of dark content. It's difficult to actually figure out what was in them and what was useful because the user had to put something in there. Now, if there's any text in there whatsoever, we'll actually help you to extract that text out of there, but then also to categorize that image if it has something to do with work. So it'll actually do things like, this is a whiteboard or this is a screenshot without you having to tell that explicitly to the computer. So Xray Vision, cool, yes? Good. All right, good. All right, that actually is my end of my presentation. Very fast for you guys. Try to keep on time. This is my email address. You can email me. I know there's a million questions. There always is afterwards. But I really appreciate your time, and I hope that you will energize your community's practice and feel superpowered oriented. Thank you so much.